Good afternoon and welcome to Zoom 101. My name is Amy Nichols. I am the campus coordinator at the Campus for Creative Aging, which is a division of Region 4 Area Agency on Aging. We are videotaping this today, so it's a lovely sunny day with snowflakes here. So if you hear me kind of like gasping once in a while, it's because it's April and it's snowing. Couple of housekeeping things we'll do before we really dive into this. If you cannot see your controls, and we're going to talk really in depth about those later, you're just going to wiggle your mouse at the bottom of your screen and you'll see them. If you have any issues though, feel free to open the chat at the bottom of the screen. We're going to dive into that a little bit later, and you may send me that. But if all else fails, you can minimize Zoom, send me an email, amynichols@areaagencyonaging.org, and I will do my best to help you while I'm teaching. If for some reason we are Zoom bombed or hacked, which is a really nasty thing, if you've never seen it, consider yourself very lucky. That is when hackers take over your Zoom session. I will end this session and we will pick it up again at another day, but knock on wood, that has not happened because we are very protective of our Zoom links. All righty, here we go. So about us, well, us is me. I'm the one woman show today. Sometimes we have 2 or 3 people teaching, but for this one, I do this one by myself. I am, again, the campus coordinator. So the Campus for Creative Aging is such a cool place to make aging fun and creative and different and purposeful. At really a really beautiful building located in St. Joseph, Michigan. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we are now closed. So we had to make our aging a little bit more creative, and we now do everything via Zoom. I don't know where y'all are joining us from, but the state of Michigan is still pretty much the hotspot of the nation. So I don't see us going back in person anytime soon. So look for more of our classes to be booked up here soon. I think I'm booked through August right now. I'll be adding a few more, some really interesting ones on opioid education probably next week. And so if you really want to see what we have to offer, I highly recommend you go to the campusforcreativeaging.org, hit on the classes button, and you will see the variety of things we teach. Everything from cooking to computers to opioids to caregiving, support, you name it, we do it all. So this is today's agenda, and I'm not going to read through all these because you can see we have quite a list, but we're basically going to start with what is Zoom and end with Zoom help. And we're going to talk about every little thing you can do in between to try and make Zoom better for you. And congratulations, you've already passed the first test. You got into this meeting. So we're happy about that. We should really talk about Zoom etiquette because it's one of the few things that people kind of forget about, and it makes life very important. So number one is to keep your microphone muted unless you are speaking. Background noise happens. You may not hear the background noise at your house, but everybody else will, because it's different. For you, you hear it all the time. It's just what it is. Everybody else will hear it because it's different to them. Caveat to this, I have the grand dog here. My daughter got her second COVID shot and she's recovering, and the grand dog is very barky and likes to save us from everyone. So you may hear some barking from the upstairs of my house. That's how loud this dog is. So if you do hear that, I do apologize. Couple other things. It says to turn your camera on, even if you don't want to. You do not need to turn your camera on for me today. I completely understand. But for any other meeting, it is really considered proper etiquette to turn your camera on. Make sure you're in a well-lit area. Some people like to do these from their basement, and then the whole behind them will be black, and they just look like this floating head out of a horror movie. Don't be that guy. Be the guy that actually gets a light and puts it behind your computer screen in front of you so that your face is lit so people can see your expressions. It's hard enough to see people on these tiny little screens, but being able to not read their expressions is really tough. When you're in the chat is highlighted over here. You can send a private message to anyone in the meeting. You just pick that person, or you can send a message to everyone in the meeting. Be very careful if you open your chat box and you send messages and you want them to be private. Make sure you have the correct setting on that one. So here's the very first thing you will notice, and it's going to be hard for you to do right now because I'm screen sharing, but if we had just one screen and I was speaking, you would see like this girl right here, my face, and then you see everybody else in the meeting up above it. That's called speaker view, and whoever speaks gets to be the person in the view. It won't work right now because I'm screen sharing, so you're stuck with that. But gallery view, if nobody was talking or screen sharing, you could click gallery view and see every single person in the meeting, up to 48 people now if you have a business account. Oh, you can't see my screen share? Oh, did I turn it off? How about that? I did turn it off. Thank you so very much for that. I'm so sorry. When I was hit the record, I probably turned it off. So thank you. See, very helpful that people do these kind of things to me. So now you better see my screen share. I hope everyone, right? Yay, good, nod. All right. So no wonder you're struggling to keep up with me here. This is the girl's face that you would see if we were not screen sharing. And then this is the gallery view where everybody's face is together. Gallery view is very fun for a meeting when you have a bunch of people in there or your family, then you can see everybody's face. Probably the one I use the most is gallery view. All right, let's go to what is Zoom? So let's start, let's back up because a year and a half ago, nobody really used Zoom much. It was out there, but nobody used it because we had in-person meetings. Well, when the world shut down due to COVID-19, this became the fastest growing web-based meeting conference tool. It is a conference tool to have conferences or meetings with. That's all it is. And it's based on the web. And it is a remote communication tool is really the technical name for it. And it is really grown exponentially, and so have some others. I mean, Microsoft Teams, Google Meets, they're out there. There's even one now called Blue Jean that's kind of got some fun things with it. So you go to meeting, all of these are just conference tools. We just happen to be talking about Zoom today because Zoom is what we use at the agency for all of our classes. It allows you to instant message, do some virtual background, screen share when you remember to hit the button like Amy did, and hosting video webinars. So that's what Zoom is. It's just an internet conferencing tool. So to get started with Zoom, you all have probably done this already, so this will be redundant to you, is that you have got to sign up. And the easiest way is for your desktop to head to zoom.us, and it's free, and you click on the orange sign up button, which you all did. So once you've done that, you hit sign up. There's a couple of ways you can sign up. You can sign up and enter your email address, and then you can enter a password, or you can use what's called a single sign-on, SSO. And that uses your Google account or your Facebook account to just sign up. Got to remember how you signed up. Please write this down when you do this, because if you used a single sign-on and you forget your password, you're going to have a heck of a time trying to change it again because it won't care. It won't let you change your password. It knows that you signed up via Facebook or Google. So you've got to go back in through every time you enter through Facebook or Google. This is the reason I don't recommend you do that. I just don't recommend you do it because it's hard to remember. It's easier to remember a password, believe it or not, than remember whether you signed in. Once you get it all set up, whichever way you sign in, email or single sign-on, you're going to get an email confirmation link that says to Zoom, hey, I think you want a Zoom account, click here. And when you click here, you are now ready to go. You have access. So there's a couple other caveats you should know about Zoom. Zoom, it requires a lot of heavy lifting computer-wise. So if you're going to use this with a mobile phone or a tablet type device, you're going to need an application or an app to run that because there's just too much for those poor little phones and tablets to handle. So they're going to run it through an app. So you need to go into your App Store or your Google Play, either one, depending on your device. If you have an Apple device, you go through the App Store. If you have a Samsung device, you're going to go through Google Play. And you need to download the mobile version, the app for Zoom. And then you can sign in there and you can now Zoom on your phone. Zoom on your phone is great if it's just one or two people. Don't try to take a class on Zoom on your phone because quite frankly, that is a tiny little screen to try to see what's happening. But it can be done. So if you're going to join Zoom meetings, you all probably use the meeting link today, which I emailed to you, and it probably looked very similar to this. Join your Zoom training, and you're going to click down here at the bottom, double click on that, on whatever device you're using. And if you've used Zoom on that device before or set up your account on that device, Zoom knows, hey, Jeanette's trying to open a meeting. I'm going to open Zoom. I'm going to open that meeting for her, and she'll be good to go. If for some reason the link doesn't work, and sometimes you may have been on Zoom 50,000 times, and once in a while you're going to get this goofy message that the Zoom link doesn't work. I don't know what happens to Zoom. I think it just needs a little timeout once in a while, and it just says, that's enough. I need to sit in the corner. There's another way. There's always more than one way to open a meeting, and that is with the meeting ID and the password. So when you open up your Zoom app on your phone or the Zoom website, it will say join a meeting, and you click that, and it's going to ask you for the meeting ID, and you're going to put that in. And you can copy and paste it right out of an email if you want, or you can type it in, and then you're going to hit join, and then it's going to ask you for your password. They're in different spots. I don't like the way they did that, but just know it's in 2 different spots, and you will eventually get there, so don't panic. Once you get everything in, you either have your link working or your meeting ID and password, it's going to ask you, do you want to join with video? Do you want to turn on your video camera? Always say yes, because remember we said under etiquette, that's polite, right? And then it's going to ask you to join with computer audio. Always say yes to that. I'll tell you why. If you notice, this is highlighted in blue, and then this is highlighted in blue. Zoom always highlights in blue what it wants you to do, what it thinks it wants you to do. If you click anything other than something highlighted in blue, it's not the normal thing. So always go with the highlighted in blue, and that is join with computer audio and join with video. So once you get that going, goofy things can happen, and sometimes your audio doesn't work very well. So there's some help for that. You can click right next to the little microphone. You might be muted when you come in. You can click and unmute that, or you can click on the little caret right next to it, and it brings up this whole audio box. Now, how fun is this? You can do all kinds of things here. You can test your speakers. You can test your microphone. You can do all sorts of fun, but it's that little caret right next to it. So, Jeanette, you may not have this, but you will eventually. Don't you worry.
All right.
And then, because you can't, your mute button is different. But same thing is going to happen next to the video camera. Is going to bring up video settings right above that. So we're going to get to that too. Don't worry. Now, the best part of Zoom, other than getting in and feeling like, oh, hallelujah, I made it in the meeting, I'm doing great, I feel good. There are a ton of features, and we're going to run through some of these, and there are some new features we're going to play with too, since I've taught this. It's been a couple months since I've taught this class. So here is something I want you guys to try and play with. Jeanette, this probably won't work for you yet, but okay. If you wiggle your mouse and you see all of the options that are at the bottom of the screen here, it will say mute, video, chat. You won't have all of these options. You won't probably have polls, but you'll have you'll have participants. Click on that participants button, and what you'll get is some fun things you can do there as far as raise your hand, lower your hand. But you can also get those in your little taskbar, as they call it. Hold on, I'm trying to get it to pull up. And it's down here under more. So when you see the 3 buttons that says more, you'll get all of these fun little things you can do. You can clap your hands. You can give me a thumbs up. You can cry if it's really bad. You can, give me the okay. Or you can give me a heart, or so all of these things you can do. You can also tell me to speed up or slow down. Most people tell me to slow down, so I'm not offended. Don't worry. I talk fast, I move fast. It's just the way I do it. But if you have trouble, you can raise your hand and I will know to call on you. And this is under the reactions button. You can't see the reactions. It's behind the green arrow, but that's where that is. So we're going to talk about all of these kind of separately, but if you need anything, go to reactions and start clicking. So now that I'm sharing this PowerPoint, you guys are stuck with the view you have, but here's a little tip you can do. You can make the PowerPoint smaller and make the faces bigger because everybody kind of lines up over here on the side, right? But if you notice, there'll be a line in between where my PowerPoint is and where the faces are, and you can click on that and drag that left or right to make faces bigger or smaller. Helpful if you're trying to find someone to answer a question or somebody's going to be in for something, you know, it just makes life a little bit easier. So far, so good. Any questions? All right, so here's the fun one. You can change your name. So if you got into a meeting and you decided that you're in a meeting with a bunch of strange people that you don't know, and you really don't want to be known for being in here, you don't want to know who these people, you don't want people to know who you are, you can change your own name. So you have to find your face and you have to hover your mouse over your face and it will usually say mute, and then there'll be 3 little buttons. Those are called an ellipsis, and you pull down on the ellipsis and it should say mute my audio, stop video, pin, spotlight, hide. At the very bottom, it'll say rename, and you will click on rename and you can say, I'm going to be Awesome Amy today. And then it can actually remember you for the next meeting if you would like. So funny story about this. I'm on the board of Girls on the Run, and we all have Girls on the Run names when we go to board meetings. So my name is Awesome Amy, and I left it on there and went to a state level meeting of all of these, you know, executives at the state level. And they said, so who's Awesome Amy? I kind of forgot that I changed my name. So then I had to explain what I was and how I done it. And they all changed their name to be Girls on the Run names because they thought it was a good idea to support Girls on the Run. So we're very happy about that. But just know that you might have to change this back for your next Zoom, even though it says. So you can change your name. You don't have to be known. So screen sharing is what I'm doing right now. And it lets you, number one, show a PowerPoint, which is really kind of, I think, the easiest and the fastest go-to that people do, because PowerPoints are easy to set up ahead and show. There's also a couple other things you can do, one of which is a whiteboard. So you can share like a whiteboard in a classroom and color on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And I'm going to go to screen share, and I'm going to screen share this whiteboard. And then I'll put, hang on, I got to move it over because it's over here. All right, I have 2 screens. So can you guys see the whiteboard?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see me drawing on it?
No.
No. All right, then it's over here. All right, hold on. I can't remember which one it was sharing on. So hold on. There we go. Can you see it now?
No. Oh, I see it now.
Yes.
So, all right, I'm going to put some hearts all over it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right. So that's a whiteboard. You could actually type on there and say, hello, everyone, to take notes if you're in a group that needs to take notes. And then you can actually choose the eraser and just erase whatever you want.
Oh.
Isn't that fun? I know. Fun to play with. So the whiteboard is handy. It does not save whatever you type on there. So if you're in a group that wants to save that stuff, it will not work. So just so you know, but fun to keep notes on and then have somebody either take a picture of or take a screenshot of it, and then that's how you save it. So that one's always a good one. All right, let me go back to screen sharing my actual presentation now. There we go. And pop up our participants again, just so I make sure I have everybody. And then get my chat going too. All right. back to work here. You can actually share your screen off of your iPad or your iPhone if you wanted to. I don't have anything except pictures on mine, and I don't think you want to see pictures of my family or my cat, so I'm not going to share that with you today. So Jeanette just got to experience this morning. We on Breakout Rooms. So this is really helpful if you're going to teach or you've got a group that's big and then you want to break them down into smaller groups. You can essentially set up small Zooms inside one big Zoom. And you can kind of assign these people randomly on the fly and let Zoom decide who's going to what room. And it will create, so if there were 10 of us and I wanted to put, or let's say there's 12 of us and I wanted to put 3 of us in each room to just have a little chit chat time or to follow up on a question I asked you, I could create these rooms and I would send 3 of you off, and then 3 of you would have your own private Zoom, and it's timed. So I can tell it how long I want you in there chit chatting. I can send you messages that says like, hey, you're in there for 10 minutes. I'll let you know when 5 minutes is up. And then you could send them a message that says 5 minutes is, up, 5 minutes to go. And then you'll always get a warning that says 1 minute left. And when your time is up, you come back to the big Zoom. Really fun, really useful. I think they are great for teaching, great for hosting a party of any kind, because I think it's cool to let people see each other and have a little visit time sometimes. And it doesn't waste all the time you have when you've got like 50 people trying to visit at once. So polls, this is my favorite. Jeanette knows how to do these because we do these a lot, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And a poll is how you ask a question. I do this just to make sure people are awake half the time when I'm teaching, because I like to know that people are with it. You set these up ahead, must be set up ahead. And you can do a couple of things. You can do true, false. You can do it multiple choice. You can have them pick more than one. It's all in how you set it up. The results are real time and immediate, and they are anonymous unless you ask that to be otherwise. So we're going to take a poll. All right, let me get it over here so you can see it. There's our poll. Can you see it? Here we go. Oh, probably can't see it because it's on the wrong screen. Now you can see it, right? So here's what I want to know. Are you more of a cat person or a dog person? And you are going to pick the answer that you like. So you can pick cat, dog, other, or no fur babies at my house ever. And then you're going to hit submit. And you just, use your mouse to click on whichever one you like and then hit submit. Don't forget to hit submit or your vote doesn't get counted. And I don't get to vote, unfortunately, because I created the poll. So it's not going to let me vote, but I would have had to pick a cat person, which puts me in the minority because 3 of you guys are dog people, which is awesome. So you see how kind of fun they can be when in regards to keeping, there we go. I'm going to stop sharing now. I'm going to get rid of that for you. In just finding out information. We use these a lot in some of our classes that we take regarding age, what age group you're in, what demographics, that kind of thing. And you can save the information from polls, and that helps a lot. So the next one is a absolute new one. It's called Annotate, and it is a way for you to interact with the screen without having to share your screen. So you're going to get to do some things here, and I'm gonna let you do it on the next screen. But it's a way for you to be able to make your mark on the screen if you wanted to vote for something, right? So it is located. You'll see the screen share. If you wiggle your mouse, you're going to see this green. You are viewing Amy Nichols' screen is probably what it says. Next to it is view options. When you click view options, the third choice down is annotate. When you click that, you get all of this right here. And I have to tell you, this is exactly what it looks like when you have the whiteboard up. So you guys saw this when I had the whiteboard. Annotate is the same thing. It's just the whiteboard options. and you're going to get to use it on my screen. So Jeanette, remember when I said, I think something is screwed up on the grand pads? This is what I think. I think Annotate lets you have these whiteboard options
Okay.
or these annotate options anywhere. So let me go to the next page, and we're going to practice this because I like to make people do stuff. So remember, next to you are viewing Amy Nichols' screen, you click the view options, you get the annotate, and then you got to pick which one. Do you want to make a stamp, or do you want to make a spotlight? You want to, don't erase, please, because that's kind of annoying. But if you want, I usually pick the stamp and I pick a heart. And then I want you to click, once you've clicked what you like, click on the dog or the cat, however you want to do it. And then let me know if it's working. If it's not working, let me know, because it's a brand new option and I haven't tried this yet. So you guys are my guinea pigs. So view options, annotate, pick a stamp is usually the easiest one. Oops. And then, oh, somebody's got it to work. Click it next to the dog or the cat. Again, I would be a cat person, but they won't let me play. There you go, got it. Yay. So you will see this option a lot coming up now in meetings because
I can't make it work.
you can't, well, it says you made it work, honey.
Oh, I did?
Yeah,
Oh,
it did. You picked the heart, right?
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
you did. It worked. I did not have it. You in the settings, we'll talk about when you set up a meeting, you can have the names be attached right next to the heart option. Whatever you do, it would have your name or your initials. You can do that. I didn't do that because I wasn't sure how many people we would have and if people wanted to be anonymous or not. And I'd rather do the anonymous way first. So unfortunately, it makes it hard that you can't see your name, but it did say next to your name somewhere that you were,
Okay.
yeah, you were there. Okay, now funny is that when I click this over, when I click to my next screen, they're still there. I don't know. Can you see those, the hearts?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't go away. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I guess I have some homework too. But this is a fun one. So this is called a virtual background, and if you were ever in a class with me, I always have this virtual background on, but I have a couple of different ones. We partner with some health systems, so I have one that is Spectrum Lakeland in there as well, to the area agency and the campus logos. I have one that's got Bronson as well. So I have a lot of virtual backgrounds, and basically the virtual background is so you don't have to look at where my office is. Plus, I like you to see my logo. It's brand presentation. And it's really pretty simple to set up. The only caveat is this. You must have your pictures that you want to use, because this is just a picture behind my head here. You must have that on your computer or your device. So you can't pick one from somewhere that your desktop or your computer does not have access to, right? So when you do this, you'll go to the video icon that is at the bottom of your screen, the little video camera, and you're going to choose that caret that's next to it. And it's going to pop up all this settings box. And then you're going to pick virtual background. So your choices are none, or this pretty little picture here. And I got to tell you, I must have 15 different virtual backgrounds in mine right now that I could change. So you would just pick that picture, click on it, and it would appear. And you could decide whether if you like it, you just close out your settings box. If you don't like it, you upload another one. Here's how you upload them right here, this little tiny box. What Zoom was thinking, I don't know. But this is where you upload pictures. So you'd click on that and it would take it to where on your computer, it will automatically go to the photos on your computer, and then you could pick. I do not know why Zoom did that. So if you struggle with that, there's a couple things that could go wrong. Number one, sometimes if you have a little bit older computer, and I mean a little bit, we're not talking a lot, just a little bit, it will tell you that you don't have enough enough quality images or camera to run a virtual background. So it will make you load something called a green screen, which is what they use on the TV news behind them all the time. The weather people always have the green screen. And, this is why weather people don't back up, because their hands disappear. And then once you pick a green screen and you allow a green screen to be used, you have to go to the dollar store, buy yourself a giant piece of green poster board, hang it behind your head, and then you can use a virtual background. It's that simple. Or a green sheet or a green blanket, something that is actually green, because that is the color that you can project onto and it doesn't go through. I don't understand that part, but you must do your own green screen if you have an older computer, which is kind of a bummer, but okay, so now you've learned all the fun things that Zoom can do and you're ready to go out and you are ready to go schedule something with your family. And you have to do this on the zoom.us website if you're US. If you're international, you'll have to do like zoom.uk or whatever your 2-letter identification for your country is with Zoom. And when you do that, all you have to do is pick schedule a meeting, and it will automatically pop up some things you need to know. One of which is, what's the name of your meeting? When is your meeting? How long? Oh, when. Pick the date and then pick the time. Caveat to this, please pay attention here, because AM and PM, if you scheduled a meeting at 10 a.m. last time, and now you're going to schedule a meeting at 2 p.m., it defaults. So it would stay on AM because that's what you used last time. So don't miss this spot and schedule a meeting for 2 o'clock in the morning. I say that because I've done that more than once. So just be very careful, watch your AMs and PMs. So then you're going to, how long do you want to do this? If you're using a free account, you're stuck with 40 minutes. It is what it is. You don't get any more. Sorry. If you purchase an account, you can go a lot longer. Most of the time when you're using a free account, you're using it just for family and friends anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Do you want to see your family for more than 40 minutes? That's up to you. But if you are in a meeting, like with me, who has a business account, you can stay on as long as you want. It will not kick you off after 40 minutes. It's the hosting a meeting where you're tied to the 40 minutes, if that makes sense. Sorry, I have a little tea. I'm talking too much. All right. So once you get this done and you pick up what you need, you can click save. And then you can add the polls. If you want to add poll questions later, you have to do that then. And then when you go back to start your meeting, you will go to the top where it says My Meetings. You will click on that and it will show you by the day. And I'm actually going to show you, I'm going to stop scheduling, stop doing this for 1 second, because I want to show you what it looks like in a bigger, on a bigger screen, because there are just so many options. Now I'm going to share again. Here we go. So this is my account and I'm going to go to meetings and you'll see how many meetings I have scheduled. A lot. It says, hey, you're in the Zoom 101 right now. If you have more meetings than one, you might be very careful about starting a meeting. So like tomorrow morning, we have Fresh Connections class. And if you hover over that, it says, do you want to start that meeting? Do you want to edit that meeting or you want to delete? I'm going to edit it just to show you what happens. This is more than one session, so I'm going to just edit this occurrence. And here's all of the information I have. Automatically, Zoom makes you use a waiting room, which you all had to use to get in. You had to come into the waiting room and I have to let you in. Because of that Zoom bombing we talked about at the very beginning, Zoom forces you to use that unless you override it. I don't recommend you override it because every once in a while, someone goofy gets your Zoom link. And if it's someone you don't know, you don't have to let them in. Video, how do you want people to have their video? Do you want it on when they enter? And I always say yes, because I like that. Computer audio, I let them use however they want. Mostly everybody should use their computer audio, but I always leave the option for the telephone, because with Zoom, you can have the video on here listening, but if you don't have a microphone, you can't participate. Excuse me. So you could pick up your cell phone and dial in and listen and participate that way. You're going to have to turn off your audio on your computer, but it can happen that way. And especially if you're somewhere with sketchy Wi-Fi, that's always a good option. So here's where you can breakout room pre-assign. If I knew who I wanted to be in what room, I could do that ahead of time. Automatically record your meeting. I always have this box checked because I find it easier to turn off the recordings than turn on the recordings, because I forget stuff. If for some reason you find that people are annoying you from, you know, Serbia or wherever, I don't know, pick a country, you could block them from coming into your meeting and say, I don't want anybody that's coming from this address. So that's basically all you need to do to set up a meeting. It's really pretty simple. And as you can see, I have a whole bunch of them. Some are recurring, some are not. Now, when it comes to recordings, over here on the left-hand side, you automatically, if you get an account, have cloud recordings. So it records them in the cloud for you, so you don't have to use space on your computer. I do not have that option. Our accounts are also under our care management, because we are considered a healthcare-like industry. We cannot record in the cloud because it is a HIPAA violation. So all of mine are recorded on my computer. So here's some of, I didn't record anything before today. So you'd have to pick the dates and search, and then you would know how many local recordings you had. So let's see what I've had. Oh, I've uploaded them already, so I don't have anything to show you there. So that's where you go. Now, if you get really into this, you can go into your account settings, and there are all these options you can pick. You can decide how many ways from Sunday you want things done. That'll be my next class. That's way too much for you to worry about today. So I am not going to worry about that. However, I do want to tell you on that zoom.us, that's where you go if you need help. It is, you go to the top of the zoom.us, and it's got a what can I do for you? Type in what you want to know about Zoom, and you will get 15 different recordings. They have webinars, they have daily sessions. You could learn more about Zoom than you ever wanted to know through Zoom itself. There's a ton of information there. That is where I go if I struggle with something and I can't do whatever I need to do. That's where I head to when I need help. Whew. All right, so 2:40, I actually talked pretty quick today. Anybody have any questions on any of this for me? And if I talk too fast, you want me to go back over something, feel free, just let me know. And we're a small group, unmute, just ask your question.
Hi.
Hi, Rosa.
I am totally lost.
Okay, no worries.
I'm
Basically,
overwhelmed with the information, and it's all new. And I
Mhm.
tried starting to make notes, and then I thought I better just listen. And I ended up,
so don't
not
worry.
getting
Here's
it.
what I'm going to do. I have recorded this. I will send you, I will upload it and send you the link to watch again,
Okay.
because I always recommend you watch it more than once. And if you learn nothing else, all I want you to do is learn how to mute and unmute and learn the chat box.
Okay.
To ask a question. Those are really, and how to turn your camera on and off, which you already know. We worked on that. Those are the basic things you need to know. And the rest of this, once you get through a few classes on Zoom, you'll get really comfortable really quickly, right, Jeanette?
Yes.
You do. It's
Yeah.
it becomes, yeah. So this is your first class on Zoom, which is why you're like, oh my gosh, what has she done? Only worry about mute, unmute, chat, and the video camera. The rest of it will come along, okay?
All right. It's a
Good
lot
job.
of information.
It is. Zoom does a lot. And the thing is that the reason Zoom got so popular is because they had so many features. Google Meet did not. I hope none of you that are here work for Google, but it was Google Hangouts and Google Meets were a basic, same thing with GoToMeeting, like really, really basic, not a lot of features. Teams started copying pretty quickly from Zoom. Everybody started copying pretty quickly from Zoom. So all of these platforms, no matter what class you get into, are all pretty similar now because everybody copied from Zoom. And that's how, yeah. So that's what made Zoom so popular. It just did a lot. But don't worry, you don't have to know how to do a lot. You got to know 3 things.
Okay.
Microphone, camera, and chat.
Yeah, so let's see the microphone. Do I have it muted? No, I don't have it.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
Nope, because we can hear you.
let me see.
Just click on it. You got it. Then click on it again to turn it off. Or turn it back on, I mean. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Camera is the same way. Click on it.
I'm supposed to have it off when you're talking, right?
You're supposed to have the mute on the microphone off when I'm talking, but you don't have to ever turn your camera on. For me, I'm good with it. But a lot of people get very upset if you don't have your camera on because they want to see you, that you're there. I figure you invested the time to show up. If you don't want to show me your face, you don't have to. If you're multitasking or, have rollers in your hair or whatever, that's your business, not mine, right? That's what I think. And then the chat box is also there. If you click on the chat box, it will pop up for you and you can send a message to everyone in the meeting. In fact, I will send a message now and you'll see it.
Oh, yeah.
It'll light up. And that's it. Now you know. Those are the 3 things, the 3 most important things. The more you do it, the better you'll get at the screen share and the scheduling and all of that. See, there you go. I assume you meant hi, but
I sent it before I finished it. My hands are really sweaty. They drip and all that, so I have a hard time with the keyboard.
no worries. I have a hard time typing, especially after I spilled my Chinese food all over it yesterday.
Oh no.
I was like, oh, so we get it. Yeah, that's it. That's all you need to know.
Okay.
The basics, and both ways to get in. But I know that the meeting ID and the password works best for you. So that's easy. But that is a way to get in as well. And you can be in a meeting on more than one device. I don't think I covered that. So other than to say, if for some reason you can just see it on your computer, but you cannot hear, you can pick up your phone and dial into the meeting using the meeting ID and the password. And there's a phone number for a local area to you. And when you do that, it's really cool. And then you enter the meeting ID and the password, and you can hear it just like you were using your computer audio.
Okay, so I just put the meeting ID and the password on my phone, on the regular phone dial?
Yep, when you dial, there's usually when I send an invitation, if I send the full invitation, it'll have a whole bunch of phone numbers in there. I try to delete a lot of those out and just give you one phone number to call in on. So that way, and then
what's the phone number that we would call if we would?
For this one, I have to look at it. Good question. I gotta go back to my my meetings here. Come on. One moment. Let's open it up. And for this one, you would, oh, it's very long. Okay.
1312
626
626
6799.
99. Okay, it's 1312-626-6799.
Correct.
Okay.
And then when you call in on that, it will ask you for the meeting ID and the passcode again.
So they will ask.
And Jeanette, have you done that yet to a meeting called in? No? Okay. I couldn't remember. I knew someone on the advisory council had. I just didn't know if it was you. When we had our annual meeting. So when I do big meetings, I put that out there. Or if people email me, they're having trouble with the links or something, then I will give them that. It's kind of a last resort because you know, if you can't even get in on your computer, you're just going to hear what's happening.
Mhm.
It's just not as easy as it is to see and hear what's happening at the
Right.
same time. Good question though. All right, anybody else have a question that I can, or need to know how to do something? This is pretty much basic Zoom, but there are, I'm really contemplating doing a how to run a meeting in Zoom class because people really struggle with leaving the mute off and that kind of thing. So that may be next.
Mhm.
But Rosa, don't panic. You don't need to come to that yet. We want you to worry and be comfortable with this, and then we'll get you on to the next thing.
This is a dive in the deep end of the pool, and I don't even know how to swim.
Yeah, well, you're paddling just fine. Don't worry.
Thank
And
you.
always feel free to ask a question, you know. And the chat is really the easiest way. If someone's teaching and you're taking a class, especially, the chat is the easiest way to ask a question. We have gotten very used to at Area Agency letting people unmute though, because we know there are some devices out there like GrandPads that don't have ability to type in the chat. So people like Jeanette, we have a really, really core group of people at Area Agency that are taking these devices and flying with them, but they can't type in the chat. So they have gotten used to waiting for an appropriate moment and they wave their hands and say, Amy, I have a question for you. So that can be done too. So that's always an option.
Mhm. Okay, wow.
Yep. Never feel free to, always feel free to ask questions because, you know, they're always pertinent and, you know, you need to ask for the person that won't ask is always my theory. I always ask a question because I know there's somebody out there thinking the same thing, but just doesn't have the guts to ask the question. So
Mhm.
feel free. All right.
Oh,
Anybody
wow.
else? So far, so good. All right. I will happily email this to you if I don't have whoever Rentwell is. I do not have your email because you were very smart and changed your screen name. And if you will be happy to just email me at Amy Nichols, then on the link you got today, if you'll just hit reply for me. Yeah.
I'm Edward Galdabini. Sometimes I do Rentwell classes and it just pops on there sometimes as
Awesome.
Rentwell, and I don't know when it's going to do that or it's going to be me. So.
Oh, I can tell you how to do that. When you change your name, it will say, remember me for future meetings. Make sure you uncheck that. And
I never changed it on I never use that rename box. All I do is just I must not have signed out last time when I did a class, so it popped me in this time.
It does that, yeah. Yep, it will remember, Zoom always remembers your last settings unless you tell it otherwise.
So how do I, well, I guess I could, I know it's advanced, but how do I, when I sign out of
well, let me ask you
Zoom,
this.
how do I sign it out so other people can use it next time I use Zoom?
Gotcha. Do you have two accounts? Is your personal account
No,
separate?
no, it's a business account, but we have one that everybody shares in our company. And
Okay.
it's like, you know, we get 20 people on there that can actually run the meeting. So I just do my thing and get off. And sometimes when I get back on after a day, then it just comes up with Wentwell instead of my name. No,
Yeah. I don't know that I'm going to be able to help you with that. I think you're stuck. Only because there's so many people using it that if it says Edward Galdavini, they're probably changing it to Rentwell. And then it will
So next
remember it
time
for the
they-
next time.
next time they use it, it'll pop onto their name. And then I can, when I log on to somewhere else, like if I did you again, then it'd
Mhm.
be my name. Sometimes it's my name, sometimes it's theirs. So it's just, but all right.
All right. You know, I don't know if there is a specific setting because we all have our own accounts.
Right.
But you might want to drag through settings and account profile on zoom.us and see what you can find. That if there's a way to make it remember. I know that when I had my personal account and a business account and I was toggling between the two, it would screw up my name. Like
Okay.
on both of, it was horrible because I was toggling between the two of them. Although that was when I gave up and just used my name for everything. It's just easier than trying
Right.
to get Zoom sometimes to do. I mean, Zoom has, you know, has some great features, but it also has some serious limitations. So
There might be something that I can do before when all my students leave. I can probably, I'll check to see if there's like a exit to Zoom button or something. So that goes back to regular settings. So next time I get on, it's my name, you know, on,
yeah.
well, I'll check it and see.
Yeah, just check it. That's just really interesting. Because I'm not seeing anything. No, because then you'd have to, no, even a personal meeting ID, if you tagged it, it's just one more level of security. It's not anything to do with your name. So
No, it's just weird because next time
Yeah.
somebody will use it today and it'll be on theirs. And then, so if I get on like later with a different meeting, then my name will be regular, you know, so just crazy how it is. So,
it is. Thank you, Zoom. Yeah, and
okay.
I'm just happy you can actually have more, you can hand over the hosting abilities now. Used to be, you couldn't. You had to just, if the host
Right.
left, then the meeting ended. So they fixed that, which is really nice. And you can have an unlimited co-host now, which is nice. So you can exit the meeting if you have to, or
Right.
if you get dropped out. So they've done some things, but it's, you know, it's a computer. There are some limitations. So.
Right. Okay.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you. I will make sure you guys get a copy of this once I get it uploaded. And thank you so very much for joining me today. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, and even if it's more advanced, like, you know, Edward's was, feel free to email them to me. And I will do my best to answer them. But remember, there's computer limitations. That's my only caveat. So, all right. Thank you all. Have a lovely afternoon.
And you too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate all
Thank
your
you.
Right.
Thank you,
wisdom
Amy.
sharing here.
You're welcome. And you go, Rosa. You got this. 3 things you need to know. That's it.
Mhm.
All right, honey. Bye.
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 Bye.